So welcome everybody to the Artsy Bunch, conversations about art and creativity. I am Bettina Medini, your host here, and I have with me a wonderful artist, Raquel Hefferan, and she joined me. Where are you now, Raquel? Tell me that again. Connecticut, right?
Yes, that is right.
Connecticut in the United States. And so we are live. I'm in Wisconsin in the Midwest on this gorgeous, beautiful day. And today we are going to talk about art and wonder. There's a beautiful thing that Raquel says on her Instagram page, which I will mention in a little bit also, is where you can find her art. She says, wonder requires the cooperation of our inner world to meet the outer world with reverence and fascination. And, you know, I think this is so beautiful, Raquel. And first of all, for us to dive in, why don't you just tell us a little bit about you, where you are, what brought you to art, and whatever else you would like to share right now.
Thank you, Bettina. So I am in Connecticut, as you're saying. I came here to the States around 2007. And I was brought here as part of my job, as I was here as an expat. However, and then I landed here in New York, where everything has just, started to bloom around art. There you can immerse yourself into galleries and specifically abstract art. And I'm going to talk a little bit about abstract art. But really, I do think that my journey started when I was a kid. When I was a kid, there was at home, there were my father and my family, they would educate us around beauty. That was super important for my family. My aunt, she became a nun after the war, I do think, because of the terrors of the war, and she came into this inner world where she was painting, and she was painting when I was a kid. I remember she was abroad, but she would send me like little pictures. And in these little pictures, she would, at that time, she was in Washington, D.C., and she would send me flowers, and she would send me like leaves that she picked up from the trees and little paintings. She was a great painter. She passed away a few years ago, but because she was a nun, the art that she was doing, it had like no commercial value. She painted a few ceilings in the little church, in the convent, and she also was printing books, and she was doing a ton of things. So I do think that just looking into her was super, super important in my early life. And I started to paint, right? I started painting. But at the same time, I was just wondered by all the world that was around me. Curiosity that was driven by my family, just going outside, being amazed by the little flowers, being amazed by the whole universe, and my father being an engineer. You also needed to get like math, logic. So it was enticing. My mother, she played the piano, so we had like art, the world. It was just beautiful. So as I started to grow up, I continued to paint. I know that we all as kids, we have like this inner feeling of painting, and I continued just to paint. As I grew up, I wanted to learn everything. I didn't know if I wanted to be an agronomist, okay? Or I wanted to be like a mathematician, and I also wanted to be a writer. And then all of a sudden I realized, okay, what do I really want to be? So I decided to study philosophy because philosophy for me was just understanding the full world with wonder. At the time, I was, of course, my father was a little bit concerned because I was not be able to make a living. So
yeah, isn't
I
that
went into
interesting when these points of view come in?
that is right. So, okay, art is important, creativity is important, but now you need to make a living. So I went into the corporate world, and however, I would say this connection with your inner self, this connection with art, ended up in me writing, going deeper into what now they are called like maybe thought experiments, which is how do I embrace art, through the lenses of understanding where we come from. And where we come from comes internally from how we think, okay? What do others tell us about art? And then, finally I came into I would say, this journey of, okay, I need to make a living on one side. Yes, I work for a corporate world. I love everything that I do on the corporate side, but on the personal side, I need to connect myself with art. And when I was in New York, after several years, I encountered, the New York Students Arts League. I went there and I found that Ronnie Slansfield's studio, he was the most open-minded that I could immerse myself into abstract art. And since then I've been, to maybe 2010, with Ronnie, and here I am.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. What a journey. I always love hearing about artists' journeys because it is not a one-way road. It is not that you start at A and very logically it takes you to B and then boom, you are just there, you are artist. It is a journey. It's almost like we are weaving our own tapestry, like this magical fiber where we encounter some yes, we encounter a lot of no. In this reality, we encounter a lot of this impossibility. And I'm really happy to hear that you grew up in a family that was sort of open, and you had your aunt who was exposing you to art. It's really important to have that nurturing element somewhere. So for me, I also grew up in a family in Berlin, in Germany, where they were very afraid of me being this creative thing that I was very timid when I was a kid. So I didn't open my mouth. It's when you read my the year-end evaluations in school, it was always like, oh, we wish Bettina would participate more in class and say something. I was just like, oh, just everybody leave me alone. I was sort of becoming invisible, right? Which all changed later. And it was actually my grandmother who sort of fueled that inner bubbly being. So, and then also I was being stirred into the corporate world by my family, by my parents, who were really very concerned. They also had the point of view that you cannot make a living as an artist and it's going to be a hardship. It's going to be like the starving artist. And I was buying into it, sadly, and sort of believed it. But then my creative being was really pounding on my door. Like, so I was in the corporate world, traveling all over Europe. I was in banking and finance. And I started getting very sick. My body showed me a lot of fire energy burning, and like the dreams were getting more intense in the night. And I was burning down, And then I found the art school in Luxembourg, where I was living then, and found the Conservatory of Music. And it's like my whole world opened, and I found this nurturing element, which I would also say for the viewers, find this nurturing element for you, even if you don't choose to jump fully into being artists. There are ways that you can be creative. And you hear here from Raquel, it's like she loves her corporate job. I was not really very fond of what I was doing, right? I knew I had to jump, but this is just my journey. You have your magic carpet, you have your life. Life is this amazing thing that we create. It's like you are writing your book. So turn a page and think about what could you add to your life. And you could also find an art school. Like we both do online classes at the Art Students League in New York City, which is fabulous. You can join from all over the world and be with artists and have fabulous instructors. So this is like, keep asking, what do I need? What do I require? And so, Raquel, I would love to tap into, you were mentioning beauty, right? How this was sort of an important value in your family. Did I hear this correctly?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. It was, I do think that we become to be, you just said something important, right? You have all these nurturing, the world, the way we view colors, what entices you, what comes through your personal DNA. What do you have in your mind and in your brain? That what I do think that my family gave me was the sense of curiosity. Okay, curiosity. What do I want to be? Writing this book, exactly what you are saying, because uh, it was, although, yeah, art was important. Art was important in my family. And my father was freaking out when I told him that I was going to be studying philosophy, which was, of course, philosophers are crazy people.
Yeah, they are in the clouds,
They are
they
in
are
the
not
clouds.
real.
They are leftists. They are, yeah. A couple of anecdotes. When I was about 12 years old, I found out that I I look around me. Every single girl, they had their hair long, and I was like, really? Do I need to be, in order to be someone, I need to have my hair long? So I took it. I cut it. It was drama, right? So it has been like a journey of becoming myself as a woman as well, and I do think that making sure that you are within your inner self of creativity, that just keeps you um, being truthful to who you are. That the creative, okay, the being exposed to art, right? Being exposed to the beauty of and I love to read, and I love the universe, and I'm interested in quantum mechanics, and I read history, and I love philosophy, and I just want to be a better self, just to entice me and be. I am fascinated by the world and by the fact that I am alive. Uh, but I had a moment of truth when I was in 2000, 2006, 2007. I was okay. I had cut my hair, and I was working in a, I was working finance as well, uh, on a major airline, being quite successful, and I was visiting the Tate Museum, and I was working in London. I was visiting the Tate. I went to see one of my favorite artists, which is Turner, and I was there and I encountered this man who was as well watching the paintings, and we started a dialogue about beauty and light and everything, and I was like, okay, I am working, okay, I have this, I am successful in my work, but what I am realizing, it's because I have been like, at that time I was not painting. I was more like more focused in my, what do people tell me, how successful I am in my work, and then I had like this aha moment. Okay, come on, you have to be your true self. So everything that I was doing with my previous husband, family, kids, everything, I just say, this is it. I want to be my true self. And I do think that I need to follow uh, what Raquel really is. And I decided to leave my, my personal life behind against all the odds. And I then started to read more. I ultimately, we married several years later. Javier and myself, we both. It was like I was finding someone with my own values on wonders of the world, creativity, art. He's a poet, so we fit each other. But it was like this moment, like, okay, I have to become my true self. And since then, I have been like writing, reading, and feel much more fulfilled. And those words that you pulled from my Instagram, this is exactly the how I feel and what I do. But I do feel that our lives have been like very similar, because you need to encounter the world with different eyes. Your family is telling you, no, 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 you are not going to be successful. Oh, you as a woman, what are you going to be doing? Why do you need to, do you need to see the lenses of art through the lenses of others? So it's like being creative. It's also liberates yourself, and it's like making this true connection with yourself, so you can see the world in a different way. But also arts create this dialogue with others, right? Because you are the artist, you are making some type of art. And I moved actually from the painting realistic art to the abstract, because I do think that through abstract you have an inner connection with other, and that's a very different dialogue that you have with others if I was doing more realistic work.
Yeah, that's so beautiful, Raquel. And this whole journey, like, how do you even uncover your true being? Like, what is this even? It's like it sounds so easy, yet what if this discovery also includes very uncomfortable moments, right? It's like it might sound as if, oh yeah, I discover myself, but if you dig deep, and I have done a lot of shamanic work in my life and like meditation, and I have encountered a million times parts of me or areas in me that were freaking me out, that felt very scary. And then knowing and learning that these might actually be the parts that are the adventurous parts of us, that are those parts that are totally unconfined, and somebody might have had points of view about it in the past, where, oh, don't touch this, oh no, this is ugly, oh no, don't paint with black, or oh no, you cannot do this, and I had points of view coming at me even from art schools, where somebody literally told me that I cannot paint a face blue, and I'm like, why not? Because faces
Absolutely.
are not blue. And then I'm like, well, have you looked at the expressionist painters? But see, and this is just a small example, but there are millions of those that are slithering into our world from messages, or it might be peers, like classmates or whatever, or in kindergarten. It's like it starts really early that we are being conditioned with judgments and points of view, and then to cut clear of that. And there is an element of, and I heard you say that you committed to yourself. There was a point in your life where you said, I am going to be me, and I'm just pursuing this no matter what. And so for my example, I said, okay, I'm committing to this. I'm giving the artist full space. I sold all my belongings in Europe. I emptied the house, and 2 cars were sold and everything. And I kept some things in a crate that came with me, and then were for a long time in storage when I was living in New York City. And that journey was, I made a commitment. And this does not mean that, oh, from now on, everything is going to be fine and the sky is rosy. No, we are then going to meet our own demons, right? Our own aspects or things that we have set up for ourselves where, oh, Bettina, don't touch that artist part of you. It's dangerous. Or what are you going to do? And it is in this reality, it's like, you know, coming from the corporate world, we know for the vita, for the CV, it is so important. Everything has to make sense and be logical, like one pearl lines up to the next, and you start with an apprenticeship and you have a job, and the next job has to make sense. Otherwise, you will not get the next job if it doesn't make sense in the whole logical alignment of things. But when we step into the field of art, it is wide open space. So that can be also very intimidating, right? Like, oh, what do I do now? Like, where do I go? And to go on that journey, to me, what I like to use is this example of going on a big river in a boat, right? Imagine the Amazon, and it's like, you don't know what's around the corner, yet you do know that you have you with you, and you can, and it's good to learn how to trust our own instinct, and that following and even committing to ourselves. When you made that choice, you didn't know what was going to come, right? We know in hindsight, when we look back, oh yeah, that was a crossroads. Yeah, right?
No, absolutely. So I think you have heard me say this, right? When people tell, and the same might happen to you, right? It's a hobby. I just freak out. You know, being true to yourself cannot be a hobby.
No.
Being so it's like, I paint for a hobby. Okay. For me, that's a misconception. Maybe they are like in a journey of understanding what they're really being is, but I don't think art is a hobby, right? Being creative cannot be a hobby. It has to be really part of your inner you. And maybe we have different ways, right, of being creative. This dialogue and this dialogue that we need to have with ourselves about creativity, and maybe that creativity comes in multiple ways. It can be in the kitchen. I am so bad for cooking. But it comes into, you know, dancing, music, or just I think it's part of our human nature. And once we understand and we are like, wow, we are in this connection with the world, whether it's through science, through observation, through colors, through everything, it's being part of being a human being. It's not just a portion of being a human being.
Yeah, and to say it's a hobby, it's almost like this reality is trying to discount this important part of our being that is this creative being, and that pours out. It might pour out in your corporate job. It's also creativity, right? And it might pour onto a canvas. And so there is this element of belittling the artist that is maybe not a full-time artist. And what does this even mean? You know, like, I'm not painting 24/7. It's like there are a lot of other things that I need to take care of and do. And so what if we don't take this point of view, and it's like, oh yeah, it's just interesting that you have this point of view, that I'm having a hobby. For me, it is nurturing me, it is filling me with joy. So what I'm curious about, Raquel, is how is your corporate job contributing to your art, and how is your art contributing to your corporate job? Because they are never separate.
No, absolutely. No, you know, that's a good question. I will tell you an anecdote. When I was when I was quite successful since the very beginning in my corporate job, because I love math. I think if I had wanted to be a mathematician, I would have been quite successful there as well. But I remember my CEO telling me, you are very smart, but you are not creative. And that freaked me out.
Mm.
And I was like,
and it's
okay.
also not true, it's a
And
lie.
that is not true. Absolutely. That is
Yeah.
also not true. But then I started to realize that when I was painting, I was doing everything with, I love symmetry, right? I love symmetry. I love, even the symmetry in the world. When you see, why do, and maybe I was reading too much, right? How does the gravity of the world, influences the trees of the growing of the trees and everything. So I was like, I at this point, I need to be much more creative. So when I am, I decided, because I realized that people were perceiving me as not creative in work. Again, remember the German side versus the non-German side. So it's and for me it's like, okay, I have the two Latin, Spanish, German on the other side. So everything was like, okay, what does that mean for me? And I don't want to put them or to separate them apart. But I was being perceived as being rigid, very rigid, exact, and I wanted to go to the other side. So once I realized that, I started to be much more flexible, for example, in my decisions, looking into different points of view, understanding that that there are multiple ways of seeing things. And even the way, when you are in art and when you are creative, where is the art? It's in the art of the eye of the beholder. So you create like these dialogues in a very, it's, you are like talking about what I create. It might not be what you are saying. And I do think that the corporate world, somehow works like that, because when you are trying to get to create something, to create a project, to provide information to your leader, right? They you need to understand what they are going to what they are perceiving from this dialogue. So it has helped me that way. But when I am doing like maybe presentations, we use these PowerPoints, right? And of course, mine, I would love to put color and organizing, and everything has to look beautiful, because for me, beautiful is, it's important, the format as well as the content. But I also take a lot of, effort in the format. And if something does not look nice, it's like, no, to the eye of the beholder, it does not look beautiful. Please, change that. But that as well, when I am painting, my corporate world, the corporate world as well, tells me that there is someone else, out there. When I am in this dialogue with myself, if I'm true to myself, I will be better in I don't want to give a message in when I am painting, because I do think that there are many artists, right, that they paint and maybe this, and I wanted to ask you this as well, because that has been maybe something that has been frustrating to me for a little bit, right? We want to know who we are in order to paint. Many artists, they have been painting, if they are like if the culture, they have been, they paint their surroundings, they paint the traditions that they have. So the reflection of their surroundings, for me, that has been really difficult, because what I try to paint is the inner world, the beauty of the universe, the beauty of the universe. I'm looking into these Hubble paint, Hubble pictures of the universe, and I'm overwhelmed by them. Or I am looking into the red deep color, and I was just amazed around that. That I love red, and I love beauty and colors and everything, but just trying to say something of my where I live or how I grew up, or it's not in my paintings, right? I am more about the wonder of life and the explosion of
Yeah.
of life and true self.
So what did you want to ask me about that? Like,
Yeah. What about, because that's exactly what I see in your art as well. You are in a complete dialogue with your paintings. You are in an inner dialogue with the materials. You enjoy the paint. You enjoy the surface. You integrate everything. So when Bettina is painting, what is that you are? What is that you what is your inner self? What is the wonder? What is that, I would say, a moment that brings you into painting?
yeah, it is. It's a great question. It is a real, for me, painting is vital. I could not paint, you know. It's like it's just it's this way of letting my being flow into the world. And for me also, I'm not choosing any socio-critical subjects or
Exactly.
painting people sitting in coffee shops. And I could do this. I mean, I have all the skills, right? It's not, but for me, I need to create from this inner well. And for me, beauty and aesthetics is also very important, you know. So this is why I love you mentioning this, like beauty, not the like cosmetic industry type beauty or advertising type beauty. It is the beauty that is inside of our hearts, you know, and to connect with this inner being, which you have mentioned also, and then allow that. So my art education in the beginning was actually really about color, Kandinsky's color theory, and to sense color with my body. It's a dialogue. So it's cool that you mentioned dialogue too. It is a dialogue with this being that wants to be created. For me, every painting, every sculpture, every book is actually an entity. It is a being that it's flying by sort of, and we all could pick it up, and then some of us pick it up. This is why maybe I started painting dragons. They came out of the blue. I did not say I want to paint dragons, but they started showing up. And what is this even? They started showing up. I am in dialogue with my painting, and I'm totally staying out of the way. This is why it is a little heartbreaking for any galleries, because they want me to be like in one drawer, but I'm not fitting. I paint abstract, I paint angels, I paint dragons, I paint maybe they're trees. I love painting trees. I love painting flowers. And it's not like I see that thing like that is a tree in definition, but I actually connect with a being. The tree is talking to me and saying, hey, come on, like sit by me. And then I always have some drawing things with me, and I start drawing and I start painting. There is something that is engaging with me, and I know, and I strongly believe, and this is my truth, doesn't have to be true for anybody else, but for me, everything is alive. Like the nature is conscious, the earth is conscious. And once we start this engaging with the molecules, with the elements, and there are invisible ones for me also that I know of ever since I was a little girl, engaging with those is breathtaking. So I need to stay out of the way. I need to leave my head out of the studio. I'm good also at the other side, like logical and mathematics. I can do it all. I'm an oddball that, like you can be so creative and also mathematical. And we have it, which is rare to have this gift of having that all, has its own challenges of navigating it, but it also is very helpful and helps us to be in this reality. So for me, it is, I just start somewhere, and I start with color. I love color, and I'm always curious, how many more colors can I create? And what is going to show up? Oh my God, and I'm getting excited, and then I run into frustration. and then I start fighting, and then it's like, this is not working. Now it's getting muddy, and it's like I wipe it off. And so it is, what a journey, not a one-way road. And I heard you also talk about this already, Raquel, where you say, I was not happy with this, so I was like scraping it off. And so I want also now to show your art. So I see this painting behind you, and I love it so much. I love the colors and all the layers. You are layering your paintings a lot. So tell us a little bit about it. And when you were talking, actually, what came to me is fractal geometry. Is this ever anything that,
Yes.
right? Aha.
Yes, correct.
Your paintings remind me of that very much. So show us your beautiful painting. Can you bring it closer?
Yeah, sure. Let me try to put it here. Okay. And I have, and I think that, this is somehow how my brain works a little bit. I see my paintings there are so many things and so much beauty out there that we need to grasp. And I like to create, my art is not commercial, right?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
If someone calls me and asks me, okay, I need you to put a painting because I want to do it in this wall, I cannot do it. I don't think I will be able. Or if someone says, I want a painting that has just color yellow and orange, that would limit me in terms of what I can to do. Maybe I have not done it before. But when I am painting, I go there with, sometimes, yes, I do a few sketches and I can show them, what I am doing currently. But other than that, it's just the immersion of myself with the medium, the immersion of myself. And I like to see how color, it's even experimenting with colors. If I put one layer and then I put the other one, what happens with the water? So it's just an immersion of yourself in these, maybe it's a type of an ecstasy.
Yeah, and I hear also the curiosity again, that you mentioned earlier. Like, I wonder, like, the curiosity of playing with the elements and having the water there and then scraping parts off. There's a curiosity, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if it comes like too crowded, because I like to do, very, very complex. I think they are complex, simplicity is not in maybe that's the way I am trained and my brain is wired. But I see so much beauty that for me, making just like a little thing does not make sense. I have to work in and rework it and then pull, because you are pulling as well, things from your own painting. And then when it comes to to this beauty, and I see that exactly the same in yours. When I'm always like amazed to see the way that you use the colors, the beauty of their, how they are merging together. Again, the beauty of light, right? How does light, I can stare at the snow for hours to see, what is a reflection, or how the light coming into the trees and how the shadows are just, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. And I liked, I like that. I wanted to ask you something, actually. There is this, I love horses, and I wish I could paint horses. You have those beautiful horses. How do you do that? And tell me about the horses.
Yeah, it's really so interesting how we have so similar things, I love your way of painting trees, and I love painting trees. And there is just the way you do things, and then you play with all these details, and then you scrape and you. So how do I do the horses? Like, horses are really important to me. And it's not that I'm a equine painter or whatever. I don't define myself. And I had to actually learn that, not to go into one direction. I used to define myself as an abstract painter. And as I am painting in this wide open space where anything can show up, figures started to show up, and it was a creature. And I'm like, I was devastated because I was this abstract artist that nothing could show up that had any maybe identifiable shape. So I was fighting myself. I was fighting the painting until I learned to yield, and then also learning more about drawing and like doing nudes. Extent in New York City, I was painting nudes and learning about anatomy and body, and I found out I'm really good at it. I can, but now I'm saying I can paint anything. So what I'm doing when this, like, and the horses, they came actually into my life. I was a writer like many years ago and had an accident and then backed off of it, but I love horses. I love their energy. I love what they be and how they be. And to me, they are most magical animals. And so lately they have been coming into my life again onto my canvas. There's one behind this one here that is not finished yet. And it's another unicorn that I'm painting. Why am I painting these? Because it's like, for me, there exists a world that is very real to me. And I know people will think that I'm totally crazy and unicorns don't exist. To me, they do exist. They do exist. And there are many other beings that exist where everybody says, oh, she's with the fairies. And I don't care anymore because this is who I am. It's part of my world. And I share my world, and I actually, with that, expose myself to a lot of judgment. And I learned also to not take the judgment, not to make it real. It's not about me. It's okay if it's not part of somebody else's reality. But horses, they have this power. The connection between a horse and the rider is unbelievable. When you really tap into it and you are present with your horse, it will take care of you, and you discover yet the beauty of nature in a totally different way through the being of a horse and running with the wind and just being so incredibly free that a horse gives you wings. Here's the winged horse, for instance. I could paint that too maybe one day. And so I'm going to see horses tomorrow. My friend has horses, and so she invited me over, and just being with them, hearing them breathing next to me, this is calming me down already. It is relaxing me. I just love them. I love the connection. I think, and it might be really something for a lot of people to explore, the connection with animals, the connection with nature, being. And I've just learned some more information about horses from a Native American writer that is just blowing me away. There's, Raquel, I'm sure you have encountered that too. When you paint an element in nature, you paint a tree, you are with it, you are there. To me, there is a conversation going on.
Absolutely.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
when you say, wow, the way the light is coming through, and then, wow, how do I get this on my canvas? I see this in your canvas. And I perceive the conversation that you have with the tree. This is why I find your painting so magical. And I recommend everybody who sees this here now and in the future, please go to Raquel's Instagram page and check out her work. It is really beautiful. Very, very beautiful. She's also working, she told me she's working on her website. So she's going to have a website. So Raquel, what is your Instagram handle?
Yeah, so it's RAQ, and then the first last names of my last name, HEFF. So RAQHEFF. F as in Frank, F as in Frank. That's my Instagram, and my website. It's coming soon. I will be sharing the website with my husband, Javier Carabeo. He has an Instagram. He has a website, Arte Carabeo. It's published in Spain, and he's an artist. So we nurture each other. He's retired. He's an artist, and he's a writer. He writes poems. And we nurture each other in terms of our art. So we decided to come up with this new project together, where we are going to be working together in our art and in this dialogue of creativity, as you are saying.
Wow, this is so beautiful. So everybody can go follow you on Instagram and see your paintings there. They can also purchase your paintings there. It's available for purchase, right?
Yes, correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. And so show us, do you have some more paintings that you can show us?
Oh, sure. So again, in this dialogue of creativity, I wanted to show one, and art is, we all inspire each other. And I was once in Paris, and I encountered this, he's actually an American artist who was painting in plexiglass. So I have a few paintings on plexiglass.
They are painted onto plexiglass, right? Wow, so it's transparent plexiglass. Yes, there you go. And then, yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow, they are like stained glass. Wow.
Exactly, they come like stained glass. So
hold it in front of you, just to the camera in front of you, so we can see it. Yeah, and you have now the white paper behind, so we can, oh my gosh, is this beautiful. I'm going to stop talking and show it full view here. So say something, Raquel, so they can see it.
Yeah, so this is absolutely, I was trying to do something as the stained glasses that are in those fantastic churches, right? When the light comes through, I was trying to capture light. The light here in my studio is not really good, but that is exactly the idea behind, how we see light and how we perceive the colors through the lenses of the light. Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is gorgeous. I love it. It's beautiful, Raquel. You could have prints of this too.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I want to do that as well. And I know that you have done it in silk and have prints. So, I will be working on that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can add prints then to your website, because this would work beautifully with prints. I just quickly show one of my tree paintings here. This is actually an oil painting. I don't know whether with the glare it is very visible. The painting is 48 inches tall and 48 by maybe 36 across. So just to give some examples, this is a small print, and behind me is an original painting that I thought I was finished with it. This is interesting. I painted it last year, thought I was finished. It's 64 inches tall. And just like a week ago, it popped. It came to my awareness, and it's like, I'm not done. The painting is back here.
Exactly. Wow. Yeah, I have. That happened to me exactly 2 weeks ago. I was like, with my paintings. Let me bring it, because it's so.
And I hold up one of my dragons here as you are gone. So this is, and I wait for you.
Oh, wow.
I was just doodling the other day. I was listening to another podcast.
Wow.
And so out of the blue, this is a drawing.
This is awesome.
So I did the drawing on Yupo paper, actually. I like Yupo paper for drawing. Okay, so now show us your painting. Oh, wow. Oh,
So this was, and again, if I did this one and then I just did another layer on top of this because I think I painted this one 2022, July 2022. And just a few weeks ago, I'm like, oh, I will be doing so. What I did last week is just added additional color, and it's different. It's a new painting. Mm-hmm.
wow. I have to,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't talk because when I talk, then the speaker view comes onto me and I wanted people to see the painting. This is gorgeous,
Mm-hmm.
gorgeous. Yeah, see, and I love this being out of control where did you have like second thoughts about painting another layer over it? Does this ever cross your mind? Oh my God, what if I make a mistake? What if I ruin my painting now? Do you have this or not?
I do. Yeah, I do. But I don't want to be afraid, right?
Yes. Yeah.
If I was, uh, if I was, for me, painting is a dialogue. It's a dialogue that you have with yourself, and whoever wants to be part of the dialogue, they are more than welcome to join the conversation. And because it's just like different me's at different stages. If I want to bring one and then paint something above it, I just do it. So
Yeah. I love
um,
that. Why not? And what if nothing can ever be wrong, And what I discovered is like when I just let go of that point of view, which I do also have, it's like, oh my God, what do I do now? It's like, hey, but what I use then is I ask a question such as, wow, what can I actually lose here? Is there anything that I can lose? And
mhm,
hey, what could I create if I were totally courageous right now, And
absolutely.
what if nothing can ever go wrong? And then I just start painting and it blows me away what is possible. And nowadays with technology, you could always have a picture of the first version of your painting. I know artists who will then take that picture, print it on canvas, and paint over the canvas, create a new
Mhm.
painting on top of the canvas print, right?
Yeah,
So it could go in so many ways, and like
absolutely.
so much is possible if we don't hold back and if we do not, like horses, if we don't go into fear. Horses can be skittish, right? But if
Mhm,
you have a horse that is not afraid, a horse that is
mhm.
a master or a mistress of magic, wow, it's like the sky is not the limit, it's and what if we can be this joyful expression and this exuberance of life, right? That just goes into like children that don't have a point of view. They just destroy the painting, they paint on top, or it's
They
like,
pick
oh,
it
it
up.
goes in the garbage, boom. And I heard this about Georgia O'Keeffe, when she one day, I think it was while she was still in New York City, she took a whole bunch of her paintings and drawings that she thought were not good, and she burned them in a big container on the balcony. And she just said, I burn. I don't want any bad paintings to be out here. And I did this once too. I burned in a burn pile. I threw some of my watercolors, and you know what? It was so beautiful because I watched the flames, and from this I when I paint watercolor, I use really good pigment, right? It's beautiful paints. And so in the flame I saw red. I saw your painting, like red and blue and purple and yellow, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And it felt good, right? So there's no limit really.
No, there's no limit. And let me just show you one that I did a while ago.
Yeah.
This is a small one.
Oh, wow. Let me pull. Okay. Talk.
Yeah, this is just a small one. And has as well different colors. I take pictures, as you are saying. I take a lot of pictures from my paintings to see how they evolve. Sometimes I go back and I say, that one looks good. But you know, it's a dialogue. And
hold it in front of the camera. Really hold it up there in front of you so we can totally see it. Come closer, closer. And oh, you have to talk now so we can see it.
Yeah. So this one I did it as well in 2022, and it's a small one. Wow. So also the size, I am not fixed with the size. Whenever you are painting smaller, I do much more detail than when I'm thinking bigger. But I don't think
Same
I'm
here.
Not constrained whether it's small, whether it's big, whether I need to do a series. So it's just like I feel like for freedom, right?
Wow.
And that we want to be.
I love your colors. It is so beautiful. It is so free, and the way you bring in the light, it's amazing. It almost reminds me of like phosphor, when, you know, there are these rare moments on the ocean when there's a certain algae and it glows like phosphorus green. Reminds me of, yeah, or like Avatar, you know, how everything truly, when you have that vision and it's fully reestablished, you can see this flow of light everywhere in the forest. Reminds me of that. It's beautiful. I love your work.
I know, and me too. You know, I love yours. And the flowing of the colors, how they merge the colors. There is, if you want to paint oil, it's oil. If it's, you know, the art is not in a medium. I think, and I think we have had this conversation. Where is art? You see it in the eye of the beholder. Is it in your hand? Is it in your head? You know, it's just, creativity is everywhere. You just need to be able to pull it outside of yourself.
Absolutely. And this is such a beautiful way to end our live stream today. Like, it is everywhere around us. And so what would you say to our audience? How can they tap into their own being and into starting to capture whatever it is they want to create or paint or write? What would you say? What is a good tool to use?
Just be present, be there. We have so many distractions. We have so many distractions with technology, news, politics, everything. Just be there, be present, and be out there. So it's like I call it the arousal of the being, which means look beyond, you know, the morning light, or look into a very little, you know, a little frog or a little stone. Look how the sun reflects, and what do you see? And, you know, just start this small dialogue, and little by little, it will become more natural. And it's part of our human being creative. I do think that's one of the what makes us, at least makes me happy. And also, you know, we are in this world for such a little time, right? So let's just start there. And this is going to be, when you are true to yourself, you are going, I trust that we are all going to be good human beings.
Beautiful. That's gorgeous. Yes, absolutely. Just start somewhere. Start. It's like you go on a ride with your horse. You don't stand in the stable sitting on your horse and you want to know exactly what's going to happen. And before you know exactly what's going to happen on the ride, you're not going to leave the stable. No, you are going on the ride, and you know that you are going to be fine, and you are facing what you are going to face with your horse, and it's a journey. And so for creativity, I love what you said, Raquel. Thank you so much. Just start somewhere and
Start
see
somewhere.
where it takes you, right?
Absolutely. Just, the sky. You are worried. It's a bad day. Just put your head up. What do you see? What do
Yeah.
the clouds say? And then start
Mm.
somewhere. And yeah.
Beautiful. Raquel, thank you so much for being here today with me. It was a true honor and such a delight to have this conversation and learn more about you. And so all the viewers, go to Raquel's Instagram page, Raquel. I always say Raqheff. Find her
Mhm.
there. You find me, Bettina Medini. I'm also on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I have my website, bettinamedini.art, is one of them. And really explore. It is no one-way road. It is your road. It is your life. It is your horse that you are riding. So stay curious and enjoy the ride. Have fun and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.